back to Channel KRT, and welcome back to week 2 of Unholy Month. I'm Kit Quinn, and today we're following the Bibble! You question the words of the mighty Jimmy Bibleman! I don't know.
Bible-man! I'm Tyler Green. Hi.
No, it's more of a ripoff of a Bible-man. I'm Randy.
I'm the goddamn Bible man.
And welcome back to the show, Ryan Hipp.
Channel KRT brought me in because Carman wasn't available.
Well, he's dead now, so...
Well, we could have gotten William Shatner, too, but he's enabled as shit.
Yeah, this special references William Shatner way more than I was expecting, and also has an actor from one of Carmen's music videos in it, so we're in for a good time today.
Oh yeah, this was.
It's one of the most exciting action-adventure things that the homeschool crowd of 1999 was ever exposed to, I'm sure.
This is probably the edgiest thing a Mormon's ever seen.
Oh god, like...
Would Mormons watch Bible Man, though?
I don't know, I had to think of some denomination, and I don't study all of that. They all worship the same guy. Why do they all hate each other?
This probably would be too edgy for them, which is so funny because at the beginning of the tape, they have this lady saying, this is a good alternative to what those entertainment moguls in Hollywood are providing. This isn't violent. And it's like, motherfucker, 2 people die in this tape, so what the fuck are you talking about?
Lady, all the Hollywood moguls care about is that if the brightly colored, loud, action-y diddly-bops on the screen keep the kids' attention long enough so that the station can make money. That's all they care about. And yet somehow they still know what kids are into more than you do.
Exactly. Let's be real, VeggieTales would probably be too edgy for them.
That's because VeggieTales has, actual funny writing sometimes.
Heyo.
Well, what is it that we're watching today?
Well, Ryan, it is good that you ask. We are talking about an episode of Bible Man entitled The Incredible Force of Joy. So, what is everyone's relationship with Bible Man?
So I was raised Southern Baptist, sadly.
Oh.
The Christian industrial complex. And at one point in the early to mid 2000s, our church added a church library. And our family grew up with VeggieTales. That was the big piece of Christian media we had. And then everything else was Disney movies and actual neat things. But they had these Bible Man tapes, and the only thing I knew about Bible Man was seeing a clip of something on TV one time, and it was I'll try this. And I grew up into superheroes, and so it being a superhero, and he has a lightsaber, and I was young and dumb, so I kind of got into it, and then eventually I wasn't into it anymore, and yeah. What a great story.
You're talking to somebody whose favorite movie at one point was Space Chimp, so I have no room to judge.
Hey, my current favorite movie is Independence Day. You think I have room to judge anybody's taste in film?
As it should be. Anyway.
My current favorite movie is that Zachary Levi football movie.
Oh god, American Underdog?
You actually remember the name? Oh my god.
I don't think I've ever seen a football movie in my life. I should probably change that.
Let's be real, if Zachary Levi is ever gonna be in anything again after the way he's been handling things lately, he'll definitely be cast as Bible Man.
Oh, God.
Whatever the Ben Shapiro, Gina Carano production company reboots Bible Man with Zachary Levi.
Oh, God!
Don't say that, they will!
Zachary Levi and his, befuddled face and his spray tan. Here's the thing, not to get too off on a tangent. What am I saying? That's what this whole episode's going to be, isn't it? But I enjoyed Fury of the Gods. Not as much as the first one, but I enjoyed it.
Okay.
But it has been just so fun watching Zachary Levi seethe over how big it's flopping. He is just blaming everyone else. Blame The Rock. Blame John Wick. Blame... He actually said something like, oh, it's so sad that superhero movies just have to be dark and depressing all the time. You were in Marvel movies.
Yes!
Marvel's the biggest thing in town, and they're a bunch of, like, goofy comedies.
We can have a balance!
Yeah, but he's acting like, oh, everything is just, all superhero movies are so dark. But it's like, we get, like, one The Batman a year, and then everything else is fun, happy time.
Does he still live in, like, 2007?
Is it the fumes from his spray tan? Like, what?
Has he been to a Marvel movie? Listen, I say this as a Marvel Cinematic Universe liker. Every single movie as of lately has been one-liners and 70s song, the movie.
Yeah.
But one-liners and overplayed rock songs are too dark and depressing.
Because sometimes they show feeling.
Yeah.
Zachary Levi actually wants the superhero marketplace to be flooded with Biblemans. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is too dark for Zachary Levi. We need to balance it out with Bibleman.
Personally, I think we need a pure flick cinematic universe.
Yes.
I just want to see how that shit plays out.
Oh god,
Like,
yeah.
you know, how are they going to play it out with all their other movies? Like, somehow, like, the first Bibleman movie is going to somehow connect to God's Not Dead 4, which is somehow going to connect also to Bibleman 2, which then teases the sequel to the Columbine movie they did.
God.
Which
Ah,
they're soulless enough to do that, so...
yeah, they are.
The group sales on their big team-up movie are going to be insane.
Yeah, no kidding.
If a trailer for a movie, like if you watch it and you can't be 100% sure, they're mentioning faith and believing in things. Is this a full-blown Jesus movie? And then if the title card appears at the end, group sales now, it's like, yeah, that's a Jesus movie. The only movies you have group sales like title cards for are Jesus movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about Bibleman.
So, getting into my history with Bibleman real quick is that I haven't really watched like a full Bibleman episode. I think I talked in last week's episode about how I came across a rerun of it once and was just really confused as shit as to what was going on.
But Tyler, this series is so explanatory. How could you possibly feel that way? Sarcasm.
Hey, look over there.
So, I don't have any history with Bibleman. I did come across several reviews of it back in the day because I went through a fascination of seeing bad Christian media.
Kit, I have a feeling our history is going to be the exact same.
We're interconnected that way. I don't know.
It's all connected, man!
Ah! Anyway, basically every little bit of this I saw was like, well, it certainly looks like Christian media, and upon finally watching a full special for this month, I'll say this much, it's not good necessarily, but I will say this, it's probably going to be the best thing we've reviewed this month.
Absolutely.
Oh boy.
Because, one, this has actual production value and a budget and an idea, even if it's not the best thought out. Two, it was way better than Gingerbrook Fair. I'll give it that much.
Oh god, yeah.
After Gingerbrook Fair, anything is a fucking palate cleanser.
This feels way less culty than Gingerbrook Fair.
Yeah, I feel like it's similar to Jonah, a VeggieTales movie, in that its message and overall movie may not be the best thought out, but it has enough moments that I can't say it was entirely bad overall.
I would say that, if Gingerbrook Fair is the Branch Davidians, then Bibleman is just those gym dudes who relate everything they do to Jesus. Those, like, pious gym bros on TikTok and shit.
Oh, God.
I used to need drugs to feel powerful, but now my power comes from my core strength. And let's look at that word, strength. The S stands for sacrifice. No gain without sacrifice. The T, of course, stands for the sufferings of the cross. The R...
You want some cocaine?
Oh my God, please, yes! That's all I want all the time!
It's like the most Jesus-y thing about Bibleman is that he will recite lines from the Bible.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of it.
Like, he's kind of useless. Like, his computer does more powerful stuff than he does.
Hey now, don't you dare call my pudgy purple lightsaber superhero useless. He sat at his computer and drank his Coca-Cola while talking to his boyfriend.
Aww. Also, the only other thing I knew about it is that Bibleman inspired the Holy Avenger and Super by James Gunn, so there's that.
Stevensville, are you the one responsible for the laziness of the boys and girls here at Valley High?
That's right, Holy Avenger. I've been bathing their apple crisp and tater tots in the beam of sloth.
But I don't like apple crisp or tater tots, Holy Avenger.
And I pack a lunch.
Well, I mean, there's, of course, Bible Dude from Mad TV.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
And remember, kids, if you're really interested in violence, read the Bible.
All right, Randy, what about you?
It was Brad Jones.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. It was just that one DVD-R hell, which is also how I found out about Too Smart for Strangers, which I constantly joke about. So
Too Smart for Strangers.
Which, by the way, I finally watched Too Smart for Strangers in full a few days ago, and I wish I didn't.
Oh, God.
I hate that I did that. I can't believe I put myself through that. I can't believe I stayed to watch the incredibly depressing fundraisers that were a part of that.
Oh, God.
Just looking at the credits like, Jesus Christ, we shouldn't need these organizations.
That's how I felt watching Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue in full for the first time, because I didn't realize how much of the end was going to be a promotion for that Ronald McDonald charity, and those fucking kids singing, "Love lifted me." Just...
Love lived in me?
Yes, it did.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Literally.
I'm sitting here, I'm just trying to play Skyrim, and while I'm doing that, I'm listening to Winnie the Pooh sing a song about one of the most depressing topics in the world.
Oh, God.
But, those weren't the only, DVD-R hell ones I watched. That's pretty much the only episode of Bibleman I've ever seen, and it was just in parts. And it was clearly one of the earlier ones before they really, knew what this show's identity was. Before they even had a budget. When Bibleman was, kind of just there.
It was a lot more colorful, for starters. It was like 1960s Batman compared to Burton Batman, so...
All I remember is that kid singing a song about how he goes through the Bible for literally every single thing, including, history and science, which I mean, history, yeah, it's kind of a gray area. The Bible is pretty historically accurate to that time, but if you want to go to it for science, I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's what lawmakers do.
God. And also, this show lasted until 2010, which threw me for a shock. I know VeggieTales has been around a lot longer than it, but that's still quite a long time for a franchise like this.
Yeah, not only has it lasted past 2010, it also had a fucking animated reboot that lasted until 2020.
Oh, God.
But we did lose our OG Bibleman, Willie Ames, of Charles in Charge and Eight is Enough, did not stick around for the entire series.
Oh, okay.
Did he die?
No, he's still alive.
Oh, okay. You said that like he died, and I was like, shit, is he dead?
Well, do any of you remember Celebrity Fit Club?
No, I do
don't.
not.
One of those awful VH1 reality shows.
Oh, God.
Okay, maybe I should start watching VH1 more than I do.
No, this is older. This is late 2000s, early 2010s.
Oddly enough, that is when I started watching VH1 more. Mostly VH1 Classic, because holy shit, that channel was Autism Paradise.
Ah, yes.
Willie Ames, so he leaves Bibleman, and I was really only into Bibleman for a year or two. And so I stopped caring about that. And then a few years later, here comes Willie Ames on Celebrity Fit Club, and he walks off the show, and the producers go up to his house to try and get him to come out and exercise, and he's swearing at them, and he's getting angry. It's in a bathrobe, or he might have been in a bath towel. He might not even been wearing clothes. Just swearing at the camera crew. It was magical.
You know how lucky they are that they weren't staring down the barrel of a 12-gauge shotgun? Now, when people come to my door and invade my property, The only reason they weren't looking at a shotgun was because I saw the camera crew out of a window.
I'll say this much, based on what I read about him, he at least isn't a complete nut, unlike a certain star of Charles in Charge right now.
Speaking of, only because I had brought up VH1 probably like 10 minutes ago, I got curious and looked it up. Apparently the VH1 Classic channel is now MTV Classic.
Huh.
Yes.
Wow.
Which, like, is pretty much not a single different... Well, we did lose the documentaries, but I bet they still have pop-up video.
Side note, if Scott Baio was live-action Foop in those terrible live-action Fairly Odd Parents movies, do you think that Willie Ames is the live-action version of Poof in those movies?
Probably.
Oh, God.
But also, we shouldn't be tempting the gods.
No, don't let Butch Hartman get involved with this series.
Alright, so Kit, you wanted to get into the Bibleman history a bit.
Yeah, so one of the things we brought up is that the villain in this special, the Master of Misery, is actually one guy, Luxor Spawndroth.
Luxor Spawndroth.
Totally not Lex Luthor.
Yeah, he started a couple before this one, as I think the first one was The Shadow of Doubt.
Huh.
And then he did different aliases, and then for the last two that he was in, he was just Luxor Spawndroth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's a villain that takes on different personas after defeat, so it's like every time he dies, he just takes on a new reincarnation, which I'll admit is a pretty solid villain plan.
Appropriately enough, the actor who plays the villain's last name is Lemons, so...
Every villain is Lemons, otherwise known as evil.
He's a pretty good villain. He does his fair bit of scenery chewing. He's fun.
He's villainy, even if he's, kind of less like Batman villainy and more, Disney stage show villainy.
Absolutely.
I gotta want to be careful in praising these actors too much in case there's a chance I find their Twitter and they're those types, but I will say the acting in these specials are not terrible, surprisingly.
I gotta say, I quite liked this video.
Yeah.
My opinion on the actors is you're on thin fucking ice, buddy.
I will say the Master of Misery looks like if JP Manu got put into the Matrix somehow.
I thought he looked like Melted Ming the Merciless from Flash Gordon.
I was like, did he fucking, steal that headset from LeVar Burton or something?
Now, before we get into the special itself, do we have any comments about the trailers of the era?
Oh my god.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like I did say earlier, with the whole Hollywood moguls only care about the bright colors, keeping your kids' attention long enough that they can make money, yet they still somehow know what they're into more than you do. I still hold true to that, obviously.
For listeners, the VHS version of The Incredible Force of Joy opens with these kids, in discount Power Rangers costumes, but, just being super violent in their parents' bedroom. And then this, probably Republican senator now walks out and is like...
Ever get the feeling that what our kids learn on television will never get better? Or that those entertainment moguls in Hollywood don't have the foggiest idea of what we parents would really like our kids to be watching?
Oh my god, it's Marjorie Taylor Greene! Also, yes, lady, all the Hollywood moguls care about is that whatever they're showing on the screen, whatever brightly colored, super loud, punchy diddly bops are on the screen, keep your kids' attention long enough that they can make money. That's all they care about. And yet somehow they still understand what children are just straight up into more than you do.
That lady is probably screaming on Twitter these days about how woke Hollywood is grooming our kids to become the transgender communists. And,
her whole demeanor comes off like she's doing the crazy eyes and shaking her head around. She was totally she's something now.
Yep.
Something obnoxious.
So this lady is talking about how she knows what kids really want, and cut to a preview of something called The Singing Place, which is the most Sesame Street knockoff looking shit.
We sing I Am So Sorry for Calling You a knockoff of the Muppets and everything else.
And it's so messed up because it's hey, do you have somewhat kind of older middler children who are into shit like Batman and SpongeBob and the Powerpuff Girls and Rugrats and shit. You know what they're gonna love? This puppet show for stupid babies that talks about the Bible.
Hey, it's not just for stupid babies. They have Jim Varney, Debbie Boone, and Dick Van Patten.
Who was also an 8 is enough.
Yeah, Jim Varney somehow got in on this.
See, guys, it's also for stupid adults, too.
I mean, not that those are, like, small names or anything, but just the fact that you're appealing to children. And it's, what have we got? We got Dick Van Patten? Sure.
Not in a tutu doing a little pirate dance, though. That's very disappointing.
Yeah. Stupid babies and their stupid parents.
I'm so glad I didn't watch this tape as a kid, because I feel like the trailer with them getting super close up on Jim Varney's face and him making those faces, I think that would have scared the shit out of me.
Kit, do you have Jim Varney phobia by any chance?
Yes, Ernest knows what he did. I'm kidding, I miss you, King.
Wow, called out for being a Jim Varney fan.
The other weird thing about this opening bit with the lady is that they also advertise Bibleman, but it's the original version of Bibleman where he has the crappy costume and you have the little kids singing.
And it's called The Bibleman Show.
The fans were tearing themselves apart.
With the knockoff Saved by the Bell logo.
I don't know, man. Bibleman really jumped the shark when they stopped calling it The Bibleman Show.
They called it the L. Ron Hubbard Show.
Yo, I wonder if we, went back in time and saw, the 90s ancestor of that, one Bring Back a Bugs Land guy. Would he be, mad that the Bibleman show turned into just Bibleman?
Probably.
Well, it didn't turn into just Bibleman. It became the Bibleman Adventure.
Yes!
So.
Just one adventure? This is all just one adventure?
Just one.
This whole series?
Singular adventure. No others.
And the preview also shows other villains, namely the Fiddler and the Gossip Queen, and good lord, their makeup is just disgusting looking.
The Gossip Queen's design made me so uncomfortable, Jesus.
It looks like the makeup artist just smeared oatmeal and black paint on their faces and then just dyed their hair with, Party City hairspray. It's disgusting.
Yeah, the Fiddler. The Fiddler? The fucking Fiddler?
This is not how this was supposed to go.
That is the most shameless one I've heard. What do you also have? Feline Woman?
Oh my god, he's supposed to be a parody of the Joker, but he's named after the Riddler, and he looks... I don't know, my brain is rotting.
Who's another villain? Man Rat?
We gotta throw the Warner Brothers lawyers off the scent. It's not quite a Joker, it's not quite a Riddler, so you can't get us. So, this opening with the lady is trying to sell Pamplin Entertainment as the alternative. You don't need any of that mainstream Hollywood entertainment. Pamplin Entertainment has you covered. We've got a Sesame Street, we've got a Batman, and what's the third thing they have? A card game. It's not another show, it's a card game.
That's all you get.
Okay.
Why do I feel like this would be the kind of content that David Zaslav would actually approve of keeping?
Oh, God, no.
Ugh. And also, Pamplin sounds like a menstrual products company.
God, it does. And we forgot to mention that damn advertisement. Guideposts for kids.
If my parents bought me this shit,
you'd pull a North.
Yeah, honestly, I can kind of see where that kid's coming from now.
One thing about the Guideposts for Kids ad is that a young Randy is the spokesperson.
That's me! That's literally me! And the fucked up thing is, I have been having, recurring dreams lately where I'm, a former child star, but not, one of the big ones, like Lindsay Lohan or Mara Wilson.
Yeah!
Like kind of a C-list one. I was a guest star in a few, 90s TV shows, and then I did some, tapes like this shit. Seeing this, I'm beginning to wonder if now these dreams gave a view into, some kind of alternate reality or something.
Yeah, the kid looks strikingly like...
Yeah, it threw me for such a loop.
Strikingly! That was freaking me out!
Oh my god, it's baby evil you, because evil Randy is super Christian and super loving of God.
Well, there was one point in my life where I was like that, so...
Oh no.
What I would enjoy is if Randy wakes up from one of her former child actor dreams, has like the hat in the bed with her, and then she pulls off her covers and she's in the overalls.
Oh god!
We're getting into like fucking Stranger Things territory right now.
Oh god!
I can already hear the Kyle Dixon synth right now.
What in the David Lynch?
Yeah, but they pull a statistic about how, after all, 300,000 kids can't be wrong, but what about the rest of the population of kids? You know, the overwhelming majority?
Yes, the fuck? 300,000 kids can be wrong? They're dumb kids! When I was a kid, I thought Africa was a country, and that all the other countries in it were states. Are you gonna say that I was correct to say that?
Exactly.
I mean, you were, because that's true. So, the Bible told me.
Also, anyone else get really freaked out by that one image where she was showing, like, pages from the magazine and it shows, like, some cartoon of a guy with a super long tongue? I was like, what in the
Man, I fucking love King Crimson.
Oh boy, finally! I have been waiting for them to finally make Christian children's creepypasta.
Oh god.
Something that'll finally keep Gen Alpha engaged with their iPad.
Bibleman, more like Blood Satan Man.
Yeah!
Just kidding! Haha.
The one picture in the magazine where it's like this really 90s illustration of a kid falling off a skateboard, and then it says, God versus gravity. This story really happened.
Wait, I'm gonna need some more detail on this one.
We'll go back in time and get your guidepost for kids from the commercial. Like, go back to the commercial you shot, wherever you shot the commercial, and just bring the magazines back with you.
1999? Okay.
Also, when they were calling it Bible Smart, I was like, more like Bible Dumb. Yeah.
Hey-o.
I think that I would make a living as being a villain in all of these Christian movies.
Absolutely.
From the sound of it, it sounds like you could make a living being a joke writer for Jay Leno.
You could make a living as an admin on the Something Awful forums in like 2004.
Oh god.
Oh yeah.
The last one is for a series of CDs called Heaven's Sake Kids. And their collection of albums runs the gambit of Jesus songs, silly songs, animal songs, and the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit songs.
Isn't that like the same thing as number one, though?
Honestly, Heaven's Sakes Kids sounds like what I'd be saying if I had to listen to these damn CDs all day.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, kids!
More like Heaven's Gate Kids.
Oh,
that was dark, Tyler.
Really, Randy? Really? You're telling me that was dark?
Yes.
You?
Am I not the expert on what's dark?
Oh yeah, you're right.
The Heaven's Sake Kids commercial also has that 300,000 sales statistic, so I'm wondering, was this some kind of like scheme? Is it like when like Bon Jovi had that album go back to number one because he included it with his concert tickets?
Sure, why not?
Is it like, oh, we'll include a copy of Heaven's Sake Kids with your Guidepost for Kids magazine, and then that inflated the sales figures for the Heaven's Sake Kids collection?
I quite literally also just remembered that when I was a kid, I thought America only had 3 presidents, and that they were George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and George W. Bush.
Oh, God.
That's it. That's all we had. Yes, 300,000 kids can absolutely be wrong.
Friend of the show, Lottie and / Tyler's girlfriend / one of my besties.
Yay!
She once told me that she feels like Christian media is absolutely a Ponzi scheme, and I can see it.
Dude, so much Christian stuff is a Ponzi scheme. At one point, they were selling miracle water that could make you money.
Like, there is no way this isn't just some way to avoid tax write-offs and to fucking get all the money laundering they can. I don't know. There's gotta be something going on.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Protestantism literally started because the Catholics were literally charging people money to get into heaven.
Oh my god.
This was like the Middle Ages or something. Christian grifting is quite possibly one of their oldest traditions.
Yep.
Jesus H. Grift. Yeah, so that's the end of the trailers. And the episode itself opens with probably the best production value segment in the whole thing, with the Yuck Yuck Man versus Bible Man and Coat.
The Yuck Yuck
Which, yes, I don't believe they ever call him that on screen, but in the credits he is referred to as the Yuck Yuck Man.
Oh my god, Ryan, no! You're not supposed to think or say his name or he's gonna get you!
Oh no!
Don't think it, don't say it, don't think it, don't say it!
He looked like if Palpatine found the mask.
It's the Fibbler meets Palpatine, meets the Mask, meets Ghostface, meets,
a fucking Spirit Halloween pumpkin mask.
And that's pretty much it, yeah. Well, speaking of the production value in this opening scene, it's like they're in the warehouse with the moody lighting, and that one shot, Bible-Man standing, and then he opens up his cape right before he jumps down. Like, if it was a hero besides Bible-Man, that would actually be a pretty good shot.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Intercut with a Willie Ames stunt double doing backflips and somersaults.
And then you get shit where you see Willie Ames jumping down and you see the strings on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, they cover it well in the actual episode, but at the end of the video, there's a behind-the-scenes segment where apparently Willie Ames was actually on the wires, at least for part of it, which, good on him.
Okay.
Which, by the way, with Bible-Man falling down like that, so slowly, how is the Yuck Yuck Man's aim that bad that he can't at least hit him once?
Yeah.
He names himself the Yuck Yuck Man. I mean, that's pretty low standards for a villain.
Also, Coates is like, how did you know where to find me? And it's like, well, you're loudly talking into your walkie-talkie. Also, I love that the Yuck Yuck Man is like, I have friends in low places. I was like, well, I do kind of love that they desperately lean into how much they hate Christianity.
The way they defeat the Yuck Yuck Man is Coates has these, like, laser gauntlets, but he is shooting the Yuck Yuck Man several times and it does nothing, but it's not until Bible-Man jumps in that suddenly the laser gauntlets have enough power to blow up the Yuck Yuck Man.
And he fucking melts! It's pretty horrifying to look at. Like, again, this is supposed to be better entertainment for kids?
Well, geez, so much for thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt kick ass. How about that?
Hey.
I swear they were directly reenacting the opening of Batman 89 with the introduction of Bible-Man. I was half expecting him to say, you wanna get Jesus nuts? Come on, let's get Jesus nuts.
Cheese nuts!
Personally, I think what we need most is like a Duke Nukem Bible-Man who says shit like, thou shalt kick ass.
That's going to be the Zachary Levi Bible Man.
Oh, God.
A Bible spray tan. Can we all agree that Coates and Miles Peterson are definitely a couple?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, they are.
Oh, they fucking.
Oh, they fuck!
I have one more Duke Nukem joke. And the Lord said, damn it, I've been banned from Dave and Buster's.
Also, they introduced the Master of Misery, like Syndrome and Incredibles, and showing him in the shadows.
In a shot that we will get very familiar with because they use that same shot of the Master of Misery clicking pause on his remote control and grabbing a Halloween mask several times throughout the video.
And he's decked out in satanic gear, I've noticed.
Right.
Also, they use the same fucking laugh sound effects as terror tunes.
Oh, God!
I recognize that.
There's stock music and stock sound effects that will definitely be recognizable.
Because it's also the Flowey laugh from Undertale.
From Undertale, yeah. It's not just the same laugh they used in Terror Tunes, it's the same laugh they used in Undertale for Flowey, which is where I first noticed the laugh from Terror Tunes. No fucking escape.
Undertale is the leftist version of this special. Change my mind.
So the way it worked is that Coates was in, I think, 3 episodes, and then I guess the actor didn't want to do it anymore, so they introduced a new sidekick for Bible-Man, also a black man, which, I mean, on the one hand, good on you for the representation.
Yeah.
But also, it's also kind of like, oh, well, we'll just replace the black man with another black man.
Yeah, I'll say this, they probably meant better than Perlmutter, at least.
Probably.
And literally anything by Pureflix.
Agreed.
So how is a 90s handheld laptop capable of running Christian Jarvis?
She was giving me big GLaDOS vibes.
Well, before we get there, I wanted to talk about the theme song. Like, I really wanted to talk about the theme song, because that ties into something else from my history with Bible-Man. Well, for one, we get a little bit of the backstory of Miles Peterson in this really moody, like, scene in the rain where He's basically Bruce Wayne, but instead of his parents dying, he was just really sad one night.
Yeah.
Someone buried a Bible on the side of the road?
Yeah, in the middle of a fucking dirt road, and he just so happened to dig it up and be like, oh, my life is saved. I'll be a superhero now for some reason.
What I love is the narrator's like...
Then in his darkest hour, the words of a single book began to change his life.
And then you hear Miles Peterson go, Bible. like he had to say to himself, like he sees the Bible, he has to be like, Bible.
That confused the hell out of me because I was like, what happened to him if he was so sad? Like, did he lose his wife? Did he lose a family member? Did he lose a friend? What is going on here? No, he was just sad.
They don't really explain the jump from guy has a religious epiphany to he's a fucking superhero now.
Ugh, feelings. Anyway.
So, after that, we go into the theme song, which, I mean, I will stand by that theme song.
Yeah,
the theme song's awesome. So, around the time I would have been watching this growing up on Kids WB, there was a show called Card Captors. I don't know if any of you remember that.
Never heard of it.
Sounds familiar. Oh, yeah, Card Captor Sakura, yeah.
It was the American version. It was just called Card Captors. And the theme song went... Card Captors, a mystic adventure. Card Captors, the quest for all time. And my sister, heard that and then heard that Bibleman theme song and how, the chorus is like, Bibleman, Bibleman. And so she combined them into Bibleman, a mystic adventure. Bibleman, the quest for all time.
It was kind of giving gospel vibes, which I can't complain about.
I will randomly just flash back to the Bibleman Card Captors mashup, which needs to happen. That's the crossover we really need as a culture.
And so we get introduced to the kid that this special is so centered around, who barely is in the special, surprisingly.
Yeah, they make a big deal about how this kid, Michael, is so depressed. And his teacher calls Bibleman because she has that sort of connection, I guess. I don't know.
Not a therapist?
Who needs a therapist when you have Jesus? By way of a pudgy, middle-aged man in a purple costume.
Exactly. And she goes on this whole monologue about how she doesn't want Michael to go down that path because he's so gifted and everything. And I'm thinking, well, maybe he's so depressed because you call him gifted and hold too high expectations for his learning.
Yes, he's probably neurodivergent, and he probably is having way too much fucking pressure put onto him, for God's sake.
No, the Bible can save him.
Well, he's having pressure put onto him by his friend, where they're having that conversation in the background, where they're very... very exaggerated, hand gestures at each other while no words come out of their mouths.
Yeah.
And when suddenly that group of kids that the teacher's talking to walks away, suddenly we hear their conversation.
Yeah. Also, I swear to God, the teacher looks so much like Kamala Harris, so it scared me for a moment.
Oh God, what if it is her?
Bibleman's backdoor propaganda.
It is.
You just hear Bibleman say some shit like, now listen here, Jack. How do you open PDF file?
Also, Michael kind of looks like a mixture of both David A.R. White in that Second Chance film, as well as Luke in the holiday special.
Oh God, that.
Alright, so going back to the underground, we get introduced to Eunice, who was basically fucking with Coates and hiding his keys, and I was like, what is wrong with you?
There's no payoff to that. She just hides his keys just for shits and giggles.
It's a joke. It's comedy because the computer somehow hid the guy's card keys, I guess.
Eunice is basically like Alexa if she was even worse.
She's a proto-GLaDOS from Portal.
God, she is.
I see it.
So, how is this 90s handheld laptop capable of running Eunice, which is basically Christian Jarvis?
Exactly.
Look, it's Jesus coming again!
Well, it's one laptop, but then the two computers over in the corner and a flying little drone dealie. It's a whole thing.
It looks like the thing from Flubber. I was legit expecting Ted Levine to knock it with a baseball bat at some point.
Miserable piece of dark fuck!
Incredible Force of Joy, but Master of Misery is played by Robin Williams.
Oh God, yes.
So This supercomputer can do all sorts of things, from tracking all sorts of people's biological scans to hiding people's keys to basically doing Bibleman's work for him. Yet she can somehow be hacked into by some random guy hiding somewhere? What?
Man, this never would have happened if he was just using Surfshark VPN, which brings us on to today's sponsor.
No!
Oh no.
We're not affiliated with Surfshark VPN. Please don't sue us.
Well, let's thank our real sponsor today, Raid Shadow Legends. You see...
Today's sponsor is Crypto.com.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say one of the things that'll age poorly about Creed 3, but there's something else in that movie that's going to age really poorly. But it's the fact that one of the boxing matches takes place at the former Staples Center in LA, which currently goes by the name Crypto.com Arena.
Woof.
And so, at least in Creed 3, immortalized forever, that arena will be the Crypto.com Arena. We all know that it's going to change its name again eventually when Crypto just totally bottoms out, but just the fact that it lasted long enough to be in a major Hollywood film forever.
They're going to call it the AI Art Center.
Friendly reminder, that is the same stadium where we heard one of Michael Jackson's children speak for the first time in fucking history.
Oh god. So, I also love that Master of Misery's sidekick is just zombie Bill S. Preston, and that his name is Ludacris, and yet he doesn't sing once about bitches or needing to move out of the way.
Yeah, Ludacris is doing his best, worst Keanu Reeves impression.
And there's this really stupid fourth wall joke where they make a joke where, for some reason, they wanted the Master of Misery to be played by Carmen, but they couldn't afford him.
Huh. Okay.
So growing up, I never understood that, because growing up for me, the only Carmen was Carmen Sandiego, and so I'm like, is that supposed to be a Carmen Sandiego reference? But no, that wouldn't make any sense.
What about that one song that's like... The Five Nights at Freddy's one.
Oh, the Hey Arnold Carmen?
Yes.
That will forever be the Hey Arnold Carmen.
Oh, also Spy Kids. You can't forget Spy Kids.
Huzzah.
Recently, an episode of Best of the Worst, they did the Wheel of the Worst, and they landed on a Carman tape.
Oh, God.
And so I learned who he was, which they started by showing his goofy little rap video. It's like, oh, the Papa John's looking white dude is doing his 90s rap video. And then they show one of the other music videos where he's in a turtleneck and a blazer in front of the Capitol saying stuff about when men would rather come out of the closet instead of clean it. That's the sign that the judgment of God is going to fall.
What?
Huh?
Then he says something about, we need to stop handing out condoms and start handing out the word of God in schools.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no wonder they wanted this fucker for this.
And then the last music video is like him in like a rundown castle in Europe. And it's the daydream of a student. Like where it's like kind of reverse grooming. He's not hitting on his student, but the student is fantasizing about him being a medieval knight.
What?
No, it's that episode of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV series.
Oh, God,
yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, God.
But yes, now 20 years later, I finally know what that Carman joke was about in Bibleman, so... Thanks, Red Letter Media.
Also, they have a running storyline where apparently Miles got hit by whatever the device is that kills his joy.
Yes, the Master of Misery has a weapon that creates depression. So, in the Bibleman universe, depression comes from a kid's water gun spray painted silver.
I will say that's where this special was kind of losing me at one point. Like the whole, oh, depression is when you don't have the Bible in your life. It's like, I'm sure they didn't mean badly, but,
There's actually one line later on from Bibleman about, like...
I've found that being happy isn't all about what goes right. It's about how we handle things when they go wrong.
Which, I mean, I think that there's something in that that's, like, helpful and meaningful.
Solid, yeah.
Yeah, and then the dialogue continues and it turns into, oh, but if you have the word of God, it's like, You were onto something, and then you kind of undercut it.
And then you were off to something. Now you have lost speaking privileges. Give me your mouth.
Also, Master of Misery calls Bibleman a grape and a cape, and I'm like, that's my favorite MC Hammer song.
Yeah, was anybody else getting, like, rejected MST3K mad vibes from Master of Misery and Ludacris?
I could see that. Oh my god.
And Bibleman's lair is on the satellite of love.
Yes!
I felt like it was trying way too hard to impress kids in 1992 when this was actually 1999. Which, like, those are two wildly different years culturally.
When the Master of Misery has his, like, 90s alternative music video, but it parodies Addicted to Love.
Yeah, that threw me for such a loop. Like, why are they parodying Addicted to Love out of nowhere?
I mean, there's a band out there that's literally called Suicidal Tendencies that has a song rife for parody.
This suddenly turned into Christian UHF.
You just hear him fucking say, all I wanted was a Pepsi out of nowhere.
So, for a man who says he can't experience happiness properly, the Master of Misery sure seems to be getting a lot of singing that song.
Is he the one who's laughing a lot too, or is that like...
Yeah, what was up with the fucking sitcom laugh?
Yeah!
Yeah, there was a laugh track, like we were watching Full House or some shit.
The anti-joy transmittifier. Connecting its frequency to Bibleman's own unlimited power grid will give this little toy the power it needs to attack anyone, anywhere.
Dear God, as if I wasn't getting enough Danny Tanner vibes from Miles.
When they yell cut, Willie Ames just turns into just a total vulgarian.
Oh man, you should have heard his Aristocrats story.
Bibleman was hiding cocaine in his tail.
I seen him!
Now, Master of Misery's plan involves hacking into Eunice, the Bibleman computer system, and using her new mobile unit to do whatever. And the way they break into, like, the Bible cave is with some pickaxes, and they leave a hole in the side of the wall that Bibleman and Coates don't even appear to notice.
See, that's why they're fucking useless. They just don't even notice how easy their cave is to break into, which is just great.
Also, I don't know why, but Ludacris screaming, "This thing has Pong!" got a laugh out of me.
Me too. He was the best part of this special.
I mean, but also, why the hell does Eunice have Pong to begin with?
I mean, yeah, Eunice may have Pong, but can she run Doom?
Also, I heard Eunice say biological scam at first, and I was like, well, it's not wrong.
I want to know why, with the mobile Eunice unit, it's flying around a high school like a couple feet above the kids' heads.
Yeah.
And no one seems to notice.
Come on, those kids would be fucking looking up and seeing something.
They're using that to monitor, what's the kid's name? Michael?
Michael, yeah. Michael.
They have like a CGI rendering of the inside of the human body, and the image of depression is just your heart. It's like you do like the little spray can effect on MS Paint, but it's just the color black, and then it just...
So it's me when I was 13 years old.
It's like Christian Inside Out is what it is, although I'll say this, at least it's not as nasty with it. That's what your depression is like and how it's harming people, like Wonder Park at least.
I love how this is like our greatest view on it so far is, well, it has a budget and it's not Wonder Park.
Everything is better than Wonder Park.
Now, speaking of it having a budget, their big exciting scene in the middle of the show is Miles and Coates sitting at the computers, and then the frame rate drops and some like red lights are flashing. It's like, oh no, the computer system's doing something. This is exciting, I guess.
We're so smart. We're these big scientists who know the ins and out of this computer, yet we don't know what the fuck that light could represent.
The technobabble in this is just nonsense. Everything about this is just nonsense.
Also had the breastplate of righteousness. Righteousness. We are so mature.
Yeah, man, breasts are totally righteous.
I love that this show isn't above having a man being literally zapped to death, but they can't have actual sword fighting in their fucking hero segments.
Exactly.
So they just have to deal with, like, fucking fake lightsabers.
Well, I mean, we'll get to that, but during that scene where he's, like, doing the suit up, the guy playing Coates as he's reading it out looks like he's trying to hold back laughter.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, this is just stupid, but okay.
So this is where I'm at in life now. Good.
And I like how the computer lists off all of the different parts of the outfit and has a computer rendering, but they can't do the sword. He has to walk out and just say,
"And the sword of the Spirit."
Yep. Also, they're so convinced they're gonna turn the whole world joyless by this one science fair. Like, okay, don't go to, like, the United Nations or anything.
Too late! You take care of that science fair in that high school, and I'll cover the United Nations.
It's the high school that the inside of it looks like it's either the inside of a sports arena or the inside of a shopping mall. It doesn't really look that much like the inside of a high school. Am I crazy? Or
it kind of does. Yeah, you're right.
It varies from high school to high school.
As someone who went to high school on a community college campus, I know high schools. I know the best high schools, I have to tell you. Well, the suit-up scene ends with Bibleman on his motorcycle with the really stupid shot of, like, the camera, like, zooming in. Like, there'll be a white flash and it zooms in closer. Then it's a white flash and it zooms in closer. Then a white flash and it zooms in closer. But they wanted to zoom in one more time, so they do a cheesy little video zoom in while he's, like, pursing his lips. But speaking of the mall/arena/junior high school, we get our exciting lightsaber battle, which, from the looks of it, it's actually Willie Ames and Brian Lemons doing the sword fighting, and it's some solid sword fighting.
Yeah, it's decently choreographed, I will say that.
It's no Revenge of the Sith, but at least it's better than A New Hope.
I will say it was eerily looking so much like Revenge of the Sith. I was like, did George get his inspiration from this special?
Well, this came out the same year as Phantom Menace, so
True.
If we're going to stack up the Darth Maul fight against the Incredible Force of Joy...
See, that's what Anakin needed.
I mean, think about it. This and The Phantom Menace came out in the same year. Really makes you think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, they basically have Anakin Skywalker be born the same way as Jesus, so...
The Bible!
You have no choice in your fate.
Huzzah!
Yeah, The Phantom Menace did need a scene where Jar Jar finds the Bible.
Also, I don't know if we brought this up, but for some reason this special references William Shatner not once, but twice, and they even say, nobody likes that guy, and I'm like, oh, in more ways than one these days.
Oh, yeah, we were referencing the wrong Star thing. We should have been referencing Star Trek, my bad.
VeggieTales got them to it.
I want to know, like, the fact that Bibleman got the jump on Carman hate and William Shatner hate.
What did he know?
I read a review once that said this show feels like atheists wrote this as a parody of Christian shows, and I'm like, I could see it.
I see it.
Also, they have a scene where Master of Misery quotes, "No more joy, joy, joy down in your heart." And I was like, Simpsons beat you to parodying it. Simpsons beat you to parodying it.
Oh, come on! It was 1999. You could have easily parodied Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy. It was still funny back then.
Yeah, before we knew anything about the creator.
Whatever. Ren and Stimpy is Bob Camp's show, I decided.
Huzzah.
Oh, yeah, and there's a fucking never-ending story reference, too. Don't forget.
Oh, that was, yes, that's great. When Ludacris is in the Master of Misery lair and he's messing with the Echo, and he goes, Falcor!
Give Ludacris his own show.
I love some of, like, just the pure Gen X humor in this show sometimes.
Absolutely.
This is the shit I would see someone in their 40s share on Facebook, and I love it.
This thing has its moments. Like, some of the jokes are, like, kind of cute, and, like, the sword fighting is okay, and The production value is all right to a degree.
I'll give Bibleman this. Unlike the topics we've been covering this month, it doesn't take itself seriously at all.
It's not like Gingerbread Fair where they continually force the dumbass Matthew joke over and over.
Matthew!
Did you blow your throat during that? Are you okay?
Am I okay? That's a good question.
True.
And then we never hear anything else out of Randy.
I also forgot to mention earlier, please never let anybody from the church perform a biological scan on you. I am not seeing heaven.
Well, that's already what they're doing to you at Harry Potter Land.
Ah!
Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Oi, welcome to Hogwarts. We gonna check your trousers, make sure, your biological sex is right.
Also, it's not as gruesome as when they turn the guy at the beginning into Nickelodeon slime, but Master of Misery basically gets blown up.
Nickelodeon GAC, okay? It's the registered trademark, okay?
You're right, I apologize.
You gotta respect that little tiny R in the circle.
Huzzah!
Yeah, he gets blown up for having depression. It's kind of, a message.
No one blows up from having depression. Who gets blown up for having depression?
Okay, well, admit it. You know that one guy who it's like anytime you're even remotely happy about something, they gotta bring you down? Or like they're constantly bringing you down? Haven't you ever just wanted to explode that guy with your mind?
That's Master of Misery. He goes up to people who are eating, say, McDonald's chicken nuggets, and he's like, do you know what they do to chickens for that?
Master of Misery is that kind of guy where you could say, yo, dude, I just graduated high school, or I just found out something really cool that's happening, and they're like, that's great. Today's Pearl Harbor, by the way.
Oh, God.
But he would do it with so much glee, though.
Yeah.
The Master of Misery is reveling in all of this. Hey, why would anyone want to be happy in all of this? But he is just having the time of his life.
He really is.
He doesn't have depression. He's just giving people depression. Two totally different things.
I see. So he is the personification of doom scrolling.
Exactly. Also, I swear to God, they rip off Batman and Robin with the I want a motorbike scene too. I was half expecting Coates to say, I want a bike. Chicks dig the bike. This is why Super Bible-Man works alone.
Well, at least this didn't have any Bible nipples.
Initially, I was gonna say this is why Jesus works alone, but he didn't. He had like 12 guys, didn't he?
And he had one betray him.
So he had 11 guys, right?
Exactly.
You notice how, like, going back to whether or not Coates and the future sidekick, what was his name? Cypher. Cypher's the other.
Yeah.
His sidekick, his name's Cypher?
Yes. But how at the end, when Bibleman goes back to have the big final showdown with Master of Misery, his black sidekick just stays at the high school / mall / arena for the science fair. He's like, I'll hold down the fort here. Then he just puts his hands on his hips and just looks around a couple times, and they just cut away to the fight. He's just standing there in his beret and his camo pants.
I feel like if they wanted to, they would get Samuel L. Jackson for Coates.
All right, let's go through our cast for the Bibleman Pure Flix big epic cinematic universe reboot.
Yes.
So we've got Zachary Levi and his spray tan as Miles Peterson, Samuel L. Jackson as Coates. Who would be our Luxor Spondroff?
No, we can't put Samuel L. Jackson in a movie where he can't at least tease the word motherfucker. So we gotta replace him with Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie, you're Coates now.
And then...
but who's our Luxor Spondroff?
Chris Pratt. We gotta put Chris Pratt in something. It's what all of Hollywood's doing.
Yep.
All of Hollywood is basically saying we gotta put Chris Pratt in something. That's how he got Mario and Garfield.
We'll put him in a VeggieTales movie next. There we go. Anyway, so also I will admit I accidentally skipped the behind the scenes stuff. What happens during them?
They have a fucking budget, apparently. Like, the shit they're filming looks almost exactly like the behind the scenes of any, 90s or 89 Batman movie, and I'm like, wonder where they got this idea.
Before we get there, what all happens? Master of Misery blows up because a computer short circuits. Okay.
Once again, so much for thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not kill, unless if the situation calls for it.
Well, yeah, Bible-man kills in every single one, so...
Bible-man just snaps the fiddler's neck in one episode.
Thou shalt not kill, but you're the exception.
He goes to a foreign country and just kills a bunch of terrorists.
Also we need Gina Carano as the gossip queen.
Oh, God.
Yes.
And then Matt Walsh is in it as somebody. He'll yell and scream until we put him in it.
Dr. Decepto. There we go.
Sure, why not? Here you go, Matt. Oh, now he's bitching because we have him playing a villain. I don't know how to please this guy.
No. Bible-man will kill every villain indiscriminately, but it's okay because he jokes around with coats and he'll go and eat shawarma or something. That makes him killing perfectly okay.
Something 70s song while they do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing's directed by Butch Hartman.
Oh.
I don't know, who's James Gunn's evil twin? James Gunn? James Gunn directed this shit.
I thought James Gunn already was the evil twin. Who's like the good twin?
James Pepperspray?
Yes. Also, another thing I wanted to say is that if they're trying to be all, oh, the Bible will bring you joy, kids, I'd be like, trust me, I've seen a world where the Bible is forced onto people, and it is not joyful at all.
Oh, God, no.
As we know, theocratic societies have never failed ever. And I mean ever. Look at all the current ones. Look at all the ones in the past. They all did great, didn't they? When religion was the rule of law. It went great, didn't it?
Yeah.
Another Bible-man villain worth shouting out is the Wacky Protester, which I'm sure there's nothing problematic about that character in this latest.
Adventures of the Wacky Protester.
Speaking of anti-Semites, there's a later episode where Bible-man goes on, I guess, a parody of like Jerry Springer or Maury, and the host who is trying to rile up the audience against Bible-man is a very clear Jewish stereotype.
Oh no.
Wasn't there like one point in this one where he said like, every Christian is deserving of joy? Yeah, fuck everyone else, I guess.
Yeah, risky.
Atheists are burning in hell. And Catholics too, even though we worship the same God.
The host of the talk show is like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, here's our guest today, Bibleman.
So he's Dr. Nick. Hi, everybody.
He makes a point of pronouncing it as Bibleman. It's actually like a kind of like a bad Bernie Sanders impression, if I'm remembering it right.
God.
I am asking once again for you to make a new Bibleman tape. I missed that shit. It actually kind of rocked.
Boy, between this and Salty the Singing Songbook, there are a lot of Christian kids media with unfortunately very atheist but also Jewish villains.
Well, how do you think Melissa Joan Hart turned out the way she did? God damn it, you were in Sabrina!
She was the coolest witch ever! What happened?
And she explained it all!
All right, so I burned through my notes with this special. Do you guys have anything else?
I will say about that behind-the-scenes segment at the end, Willie Ames had a little Freudian slip and referred to the Sword of the Spirit as a lightsaber, so he probably was slapped with a lawsuit 10 seconds later.
Jesus, sword! Jesus, sword!
So as it turned out, we really did kill those guys.
Yeah, so one of them is all over the floor now. We sold him to Nickelodeon.
Well, he keeps coming back every time, so whatever.
He keeps coming back as a vengeful spirit, saying I'll eventually meet my deserved fate. But if I pray hard enough and believe in Jesus hard enough, I'll just end up in heaven and be fine,
also,
right?
I don't know why, but Bible-man without his mask on him just looks completely uncanny to me, and I can't exactly explain why.
In his, like, fishing cap.
It's like, oh god, he's gonna be one of those guys I find on Tinder now.
You decide to pay the $5 extra for Tinder Gold because you're like, I just want to see, who liked me. Oh my god, it's a bunch of Willie Ameses.
And then the episode itself, I want to mention this, the episode itself ends on two things. One, it ends on the big, like, Batman Begins cliffhanger where it's like, the Joker's the next villain, and then this one's like, we gotta go stop the glutton.
Oh, I'm sure that episode has aged wonderfully.
It never was an episode.
Oh,
thank God. Thank fucking God.
Do you think Bibleman has the budget for a ginormous villain that eats everything.
That's true.
Oh my god, it's like that one salty tape after Salvation Celebration that never got made.
Which, knowing what we know, probably for the best.
And then the very end is Bibleman doing his own, like, whatever G.I. Joe, Sonic the Hedgehog, like, hey kids, ending, where he retells the lesson of the episode, and then he's like, if you have any questions, talk to your parents or your pastor. Don't talk to your therapist about your depression, just your parents or
your pastor.
What could possibly go wrong?
Your moms, your dads, your teachers, your priests, your rabbis, or whatever the fuck it is Captain Lou Albano said.
If you aren't watching the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, you're gonna turn into the Master of Misery.
And if you do drugs, you'll go to hell before you die.
Also, when it cut to the Bibleman Says segment, I was like, hey everybody, it's time for Bibleman Says! Like the fucking ending of Barney.
Believe it or not, every year some ignorant kid goes inside a clothes dryer.
Now that's what we call natural selection.
What is that one clip from some, like, Christian video where it's a kid in high school? It's like,
what if I want to have sex before I get married?
Well, I guess you just have to be prepared to die.
Well, now I know where Mean Girls got it from.
Don't have sex, because you will get pregnant and die. Don't have sex in the missionary position. Don't have sex standing up. Just don't do it. Promise? Okay, everybody take some rubbers.
Exactly. It would be so funny if they still had those these days, like Bluey ends with like Bandit saying, kids, never try to torture your dad in the middle of Hammerbahn, or something.
G.I. Bandit!
Wow, that was a terrible Australian accent of me, I apologize.
You're fine. For this special, do we give it a keep the tapes, put in the donation box, or burn the tapes? Ryan.
I can't not keep it.
Fair, yeah.
It just brought back so many memories, and it's so stupid, and it's got its moments.
That's valid.
Yeah, I'll keep it. Probably shouldn't, but I'll keep it anyway.
I'm gonna put this in the donation box. It's weird, but I mean, it's weird with effort. And I can't bring myself to be a hater on that, so I'm putting it in the donation box. I'm sure some Jehovah's Witness kid is going to love this.
On Christmas Day, when they can't enjoy it, they'll just throw on this Bibleman tape, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
You gotta have something to do on your birthday and Halloween and Christmas and Easter and Arbor Day and Leif Erikson Day and Martin Luther King Jr. Day
and Talk Like a Pirate Day and National Puppy Day, and
I'm also going to put it in the donation box. Overall, I wouldn't say it's something that I'd ever watch again, but it's honestly the best thing that we're probably going to watch this month. Some questionable handlings of its theme aside, it's not hateful. It's not like trying to be actively shitty towards people like Gingerbrook Fair was.
It also doesn't tell kids to blindly obey authority, which I like.
Yeah, again, the theme could have been thought out a little better, but overall, as a fun little tape, it's perfectly harmless.
Yeah, for me, it's a tepid keep the tapes because it's not, bad or good by any means, but, it's just stupid fun, and that's really all it is to it.
Exactly.
So. Yeah, I mean, out of everything, this was still kind of fun to watch and make fun of. Like, it's very good for that.
It's camp, basically, is what it is.
If nothing else, it's perfect for the MST3K crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait to come back and have us watch the episode where they do the Livin' La Vida Loca parody.
Oh, God,
God. How did they avoid getting sued for that?
One of the villain's aliases is El Furioso.
Oh my god.
And so he gets his own musical number.
All right. Well, Ryan, thanks again for joining us. Is there anything you want to plug?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram as Ryan Hipp FTW. On YouTube, I'm the Ryan Hipp. And on Vero and Letterboxd, I'm just Ryan Hipp.
Huzzah!
Yay!
You can find me on Cosmic Rewind, replace the E with the 3 on YouTube and Twitter. 2 more!
Oh, man.
Well, at least this one was okay.
We're gonna survive somehow. I don't know how, but we'll survive. All right, you can find me over on the usual Mission Breakout on Twitter, MuppetVision_3D on Twitter for my art, hopefully when I get around to feeling motivated to draw again. You can find me on MuppetVision_3D on Letterboxd, and you can find me on various episodes of Escape from Walt Disney, podcast without a cool acronym, as well as the Emperor's New Podcast. And you can also find me helping Ludacris start his Tumblr Sexy Man era.
Or his rap career.
The second Tumblr Sexy Man this month.
Huzzah! I could fix him.
Yes.
Get him started on his rap career before the other Ludacris gets his hands on the trademark.
Yay!
Alright, you can find me at the usual spots. Tyler FG on Twitter, Tyler FG96 on Instagram. You can find the show on Twitter at channel_KRT. You can also find us on Instagram at Channel KRT Podcast, all one word. You can find our Discord server and our Facebook group in the link tree in our Twitter bio. And if you want to help support us, we have two options. You know what, I'll just plug the rest tomorrow. Channel KRT, cut to static.
If only the two of you would have had premarital sexual intercourse, then I would have won, and you would be